This is the most controversial fat activist that you probably haven't even heard about, Virgie Tovar. So, going back, body positivity started out against society's messed up beauty standards. It used to be this idea of screw you, to that only one body type is worthy of love and admiration. But somewhere along the way, well, it got a complete and utter makeover. And it started looking suspiciously like the same old beauty standards it claimed to be flipping off. Hell, over these last few years, you have seen plus-size actresses or even singers such as Adele, who have gone out of their way to lose the weight, and then they somehow get body shamed for that, even though bodies, like they say, come in all different shapes and sizes. Well, one glaring issue within the movement is its selective inclusivity. I mean, it claims to love all bodies, but let's be real, it's mostly shouting praises at those who fit the curvy and confident mold. Think Ashley Graham and Tess Holliday strutting their stuff. Meanwhile, women who don't quite fit into that category, whether due to disabilities or chronic illnesses, or just not looking at the models on billboards, often get left out in the cold. And as a result of these concerns, the fat activism movement emerged. So at first, it seemed like a breath of fresh air, but now it's causing some serious drama, of course. While fat activists advocate for the rights and visibility of larger bodies, their approach has increasingly veered into fat phobia towards thinner individuals. Last time I checked, body positivity was about lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. So what on earth happened to the original activism that sparked such hope? Well, it seems that somewhere along the line, the movement lost its way. One example of a fat activist online who has become increasingly problematic is Virgie Tovar. This woman is the unofficial spokesperson for all things body positivity and fat activism, with many dashes of controversy thrown in. So to ensure we're all on the same page here, let's kick things off with a video by Virgie Tovar that I'm sure many of you have seen before, one of her most notorious moments. And that's none other than the "No, I won't cut you a smaller slice of cake" video, which went viral faster than you can say extra frosting. But I'm not going to cut that out either, because that would be fat. If you've never seen the original, these clips will provide you with a great introduction to who she is. In it, Virgie's obviously taking a stand against the notion that eating less is somehow fat phobic. She's pushing a pretty toxic idea here that's all too common in the fat acceptance movement. The notion that trying to manage your eating habits at all means you're automatically hating on your own looks. She boldly declares that she won't apologize for enjoying life's sweet treats, and neither should anyone else, apparently. And honestly, I feel like with her vibe, you'd think she's more suited to be running the school playground than leading the activist movement at all. And as for that cake, well, it's pretty underwhelming if you ask me. So rich. I can barely contain my excitement. So Virgie's actual message is, if you ask for a smaller slice of cake, you are succumbing to patriarchal pressure and not truly embracing body positivity and falling into the unhealthy habits. And this type of message can be harmful, especially for vulnerable women who might start believing it. Because at the end of the day, what's more harmful, overeating or taking care of your body? It's no argument at the end of the day. We don't encourage this with alcoholics. Don't say no to that last drink, knock it back. Don't let people tell you you can't have that whole bottle of Jack Daniels. That's an unhealthy way of thinking. Have the whole thing. Screw it. Have two. Right, yeah, because that would make sense. And let's be real here. Her whole idea seems deep, but it's actually pretty shallow. I mean, seriously? It's just cake. Why blow it out of proportion and turn it into some huge issue? No one cares if you have extra cake. But who is Virgie Tovar? beyond the viral videos and snappy sound bites? Well, she's a self-proclaimed fat activist, author, and speaker known for her unapologetic advocacy for body acceptance and fat liberation. And according to her own website, she earned herself in 2018 a spot on, and by the way, I'm not making this up, this is an actual magazine. I had to triple check, but Bitch Magazine's list of the 50 most influential feminists. Whoa, let's go. We made it into the top 50, she probably said, on Bitch Magazines. Cool. That has to be the worst name for a magazine. I generally didn't think that was what it was called, but okay. And not only that, she is a woman with many talents because she also earned other awards. Wow, so talented. Including Free San Francisco Arts Commission, basically probably means nothing if I'm being honest. Art and San Francisco, an award is the equivalent of probably giving yourself a pat on the back, but cool. Individual art commissions and an Inspired Award from Project Hill, and even a Poynter Fellowship in Journalism from Yale. Well, it looks like she's been racking up quite the accolades. And, guys, as if that wasn't enough, because Virgie's also been featured in some major media outlets, such as the New York Times, Tech Insider, BBC, MTV, and NPR. And even Yahoo Health. Ooh. And even though throughout her work, she challenges social norms and empowers individuals of all shapes and sizes to embrace themselves fully without apology. But surely being an individual and having your own thoughts and opinions and making your own decisions, like not having extra cake, should be in that. But apparently that's fatphobic, so I won't bring that up again. I'm sorry, my bad. We should totally embrace individuals, but how dare I have my own opinion? God, who do I think I am? Let me clarify something here. I get that the fat movement aims to promote body positivity and self-acceptance, no matter your size. Yay, go you guys for being overweight, I guess. That's sick. But most activists are going a bit overboard and dipping into toxic territory. So, as a result, the fat activism community is facing significant challenges, and one major issue is the internal conflicts and drama. Rather than fostering support and unity, there's often division and criticism within the community. I mean, yeah, it wasn't meant to promote solidarity, but it has veered off course over time. Well, isn't it just lovely how it's more of a cult than an actual body positivity group? So it really begs the question, how is she still going strong despite how many people have left the community? So, this departure from its roots has driven away many fat activists who no longer find it reasonable to stay at this point. But how come Virgie is still going strong even though many members have already left the community? And more of them are now dead. As we've covered in previous videos on this channel, it never really seems to be a happy ending for these people. Well, it's so obvious that she strongly believes that being overweight poses no health risks whatsoever, and despite the fact that many involved in this activism are facing health complications, and yes, even death, she still seems unbothered and continues on her activism, seamlessly blind to what's happening within her own community. Seriously though, she must have a secret potion from unity to reality. So, in 2013, she criticized the American Medical Association for calling obesity a disease. But come on, we all know damn well that obesity is a complex condition. In fact, each year about 2.8 million people die due to being overweight or obese. And these rates have almost tripled between 1975 and 2016. So it's not just about overeating or not exercising enough. Obesity is associated with serious health issues like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and joint problems. And boy, If we don't recognize it as a disease, we might not take these risks very seriously or provide people with the support they need. And that's exactly that Virgie seems to advocate for. Life's just one big buffet, right? For her, it's like the motto is eat first, think later, as she then dives into these greasy, artery-clogging delights without a care in the world about what it might do to her health. Oh, and if that's not enough, according to her, dieting basically keeps her stuck in a perpetual little girl mind state. Like, bro, what the fuck is this? Really? Most people with more than 2 brain cells or who have surpassed the age of 2 years old probably understand that having self-control is quite literally the opposite of a little girl mindset. So she had this encounter that she thinks sums up this whole sexist reality. She drove past this Lululemon trailer with see-through walls and a treadmill inside, parked next to a busy street during rush hour. And there's a line of grown women waiting to run on the treadmill just to snag a goodie bag. Like, really? She even took a picture, by the way, to capture the scene. But let's be real here. Maybe she's just a tad bit jealous that others can run and she can't. I mean, that wouldn't make me feel great either, but her mentality is just so trash. It's like she's stuck in some weird time warp where women can't exercise without being judged. I mean, damn it, she's really outdone herself with this one. But anyway, apparently the women running for freebies now symbolize a sad plea for validation. Like somehow in her eyes, it's like, look at me. I'm being good, trying to be thinner. Please love me. But let's be real, again, she's obviously just living in some weird twisted childhood fantasy. Can't you just see that maybe, just maybe, some women actually enjoy exercise? Why is that such a hard concept to grasp for her? And are just there for the gear and not some deep psychological drama. Jeez. It's like everything at this point is just a social issue for her. It's almost comical how she champions those noble causes in the battle against capitalism and the patriarchy while mindlessly devouring junk food. I mean, nothing screams anti-capitalism like satisfying your cravings with products designed by the very system you are supposedly fighting against. Right? Good job. But who am I to say that? If she was to say no to any of these things, that would be a little girl mindset. My bad, guys. Sorry. And by the way, her hypocrisy doesn't end there. While she preaches about the evils of capitalism, she conveniently ignores the fact that her voracious appetite for those addictive snacks fuels the profits of the very corporations she claims to oppose. Now let's talk about Virgie Tovar and her interesting way of calling out stereotypes while kind of fitting into them herself. Anyway, she promotes certain fashion styles as exclusively for plus size individuals, which, like, yeah, I mean, fashion should be for everyone, but whatever. But then she goes and labels certain styles as only for fat people, which is cool and all, but it's kind of like she's just drawing more attention to herself being fat. Basically, Virgie's trying to fight stereotypes, but what she's doing most of the time is just reinforcing them in her own way. So Virgie's views on sexiness and feminism can be a bit puzzling because on the one hand, she's rejecting the objectification of fat women, but on the other, she finds validation in being noticed for her appearance. This contradiction raises questions about the consistency of her message and the sincerity of her advocacy. Oh, and this blog post of hers from 9 years ago honestly really sticks with me. She talks about a guy she used to really like, but who didn't want to take their relationship further. Sorry, Virgie, not to be rude, but honestly, that's really not that shocking. Anyway, 10 years later, that guy somehow found someone else who shares in his interests in running and yoga. How did she even like him in the first place? Literally goes against everything that she likes. And Virgie labeled him as a arsehole in her blog because she's still hung up on the fact that she's plus sized. This behavior doesn't seem like an arsehole at all. If her version of the relationship is accurate, he didn't do anything wrong. He just wasn't interested in her romantically. Honestly though, she needs to move on. After stalking him online, she blocked him on Facebook as soon as she saw his photos. Now, I get it. She's an activist and passionate about her beliefs. But God, is she so toxic. Blames men for not wanting her to be their girlfriend. And this is just another example of the narcissistic theme that often comes up in the fat acceptance and health at every size community. As you see guys, she uses her image to amplify the fact that she wasn't chosen. Now, I agree that people can overreact and jump to conclusions about sexism when they are upset about unrequited love. But there's a line, and blaming someone for not reciprocating isn't fair. And that's exactly what Virgie is doing here. Calling him an arsehole just because he's with someone better? Talk about reaching and being totally delusional. She interprets everything through the lens of fat phobia, even in situations where it might not be relevant. She is literally so fucking fixated on labeling others as fat phobic, even in mundane situations. Seeing everything she's doing in this community, I sometimes wonder if Virgie holds onto her weight as a subconscious defense mechanism to cope with aspects of her life where she feels she's come up short. There's only one thing we know though. She is obviously using this fat acceptance community as an excuse to avoid being called out for her serious food addiction. Her take on body positivity isn't so positive anymore. Instead of pushing for health choices, she's glorifying unhealthy eating habits and calling out people from her past. This whole thing really makes me question the whole point of her body activism. Rather than promoting wellness, it seems like Virgie is advocating for keeping obesity as the norm. But I think I've said more than enough about her now. Let me know what you guys generally do think about her in the comments down below, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. With that all being said, I'm about to go hit the treadmill, not have too much cake, and be fat phobic. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.